the way what we see is not what is in there.
Yes.
So you have to go in, you learn to understand what is actually happening there. The trips, the way they are being arranged, the way you have to treat your conductors and the drivers, the way you have to deal with competition.
And let's say you take a route to Busia. To Busia, the transport would be 1,500 to 2,000.
Let's use 1,500.
1,500, right? 1,500 shillings, one way.
Yeah.
How many trips can this bus do in a day?
It's one round trip.
Going and coming back.
Yeah.
So that's 3,000, right? 3,000 per passenger, assuming you carry at full capacity.
Yeah.
So that's 3,000 times 64, right? That is round numbers.
Yeah.
So it goes, that's 192,000.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So in my kienyeji mathematics, I would assume that this bus works for 30 days without going to the garage. That is 5.7 million. 5.7 million, right?
Yeah.
And then if you do that in a year, times 12 months, that's operating at full capacity. That's 69 million. Like, that's 69 million, like gross.
Yeah.
I'm assuming in my Kenyan, hey, this is a good business. This is gross numbers, 69 million, one bus.
Yeah.
Hey wadau manze, kama kawaida, when we stumble on good vibes, we have to bring the submissions to you on the pod. Our guest for this episode is a summary of Kenya's whole PSV sector rolled into one. Engineer Kiruki Mwithimbu, one of Kenya's finest authors, and I say that and I'm about to prove it, the author of Matatu Madness, a story from the inside. This is an insider's account of the Matatu, should I say the Kenya PSV sector from the beginning, from wakati watu walikuwa wanabebwa na ng'ombe, all the way to sai story ya Manganya. It's an insider's account of the Matatu and the Kenyan transport industry as a whole. And one of the statements that I believe that should open this conversation, engineer, ni a business that looks lucrative from the outside. That's a very strong statement.
Yes. Yeah, my name is Engineer Kiruki Mwithimbu, the author of the book, Matatu Madness. The business of matatus or the PSV industry looks very sweet from outside. Yes. But once you are inside, it's complicated. And probably many people don't get to know about it until they go in and then experience the various challenges while in there. And many people do fail. A few succeed. But that's not to say you don't try. But it's good to know what you're getting yourself into.
That's not to say you will not succeed. But it's good to say, to know what you're getting yourself into. As I promised, this is pure good vibes, but before we get into it, a word from one of our partners who help us make these good vibes possible. Unajua ni ngumu sana siku ishe kama hujaingia online. In fact, hata episode kama hii, hauwezi watch kama hujaingia online at some point. Sasa tuachane na hiyo story at some point, tuende kwa point yangu ya hii video. Inaweza kuwa weird sana kama wewe unaweza kuwa unaingia online alafu unaacha biashara yako. Now in this day and age manze, online presence ni kama basic need kwa biashara because it helps you meet your customers at the place where they spend most of their time. Alafu sasa gone are the days where you could say that hey manze, kutengeneza online presence ni ngumu. Huwezi sema hivyo juu Udu amecome through na the easiest way you can get to own a world class e-commerce platform. Nitakwambia vile unaweza kuipata for free, lakini kwanza si nikwambie how easy it is to build one. Good vibes. Let's start with what is Odoo. This revolutionary software is a platform with over 45 apps you need to manage every need in your business. The Odoo e-commerce app inakuallow kuupload your whole catalog kwa biashara yako kwa website in just a few clicks. Alafu unajua ukiimagine vile saa ingine kuandika text na description kwa product, saa ingine ule mea mtu unachoka tu. But worry not, the new version ya Odoo inakuja na built-in AI features kama AI agents na AI assistants to help you through your creative process, kama coming up with creative captions for your product, drafting messages and emails to your potential customers within the app, and so much more. Building an Odoo e-commerce app pia haitaki sijui technical knowledge ya sijui wewe ulienda ukasomea IT nini. Hapana, it's as simple as dragging and dropping blocks. In simple terms, ni kama kupanga shop yako online ikae vile inataka. Alafu the Odoo e-commerce inakuja na presets that look and feel designed to be appealing to your customer. What I'm saying is, when it comes to presentation game, umeshapangiwa. So wewe ni kuongeza tu taste yako. Now here's the best part. The Odoo e-commerce app unaweza ipata free and for life, including hosting and support, as long as you choose it as your first app on the Odoo platform. Halafu, as your business grows, unaweza ongeza more apps on need basis, na hizi sasa unazipata na bei poa. Now what else are you waiting for, manze? Tumia hii link tumekuwekea kwa description ya hii video and try it out for yourself. More so the AI features. Trust me, utafurahia manze, halafu biashara yako pia itafurahia. Very nice. So engineer, when I read through this book, yes, I have very interesting areas from the story of the Kenya Bus Owners Association meeting with Mzee Jomo Kenyatta.
Yes.
In this meeting, I would like to believe that Mzee Jomo Kenyatta knew what these people were coming to see him for. And he had done a background research on the best possible decision. So as he reads through the notes that have been written for him on how to respond to the request of the Kenya Bus Owners Association, these 5 minutes that he ponders on or he deliberates on the best course of action, he decided to go with the matatu because this is the strategy that supports him politically. Is that an accurate assessment?
Yes, that's an accurate assessment. As it were, even at the meeting which they had that year, around 1972, the Bus Owners Association was a small clique.
Yes.
Of maybe 50 to 70 people.
Yes.
So they had their selfish interests. They didn't want their business to be grabbed by anybody else. So even as they were coming to make their case, then they wanted everything for themselves. And out there, the ones who were doing the informal PSV business, which ended up being called matatu business, there were many. There were many of them operating from all over. In fact, those days they were called illegal taxis. There were many of them. So yes, it's true that Mzee Jomo Kenyatta at that point, he wanted to win the bigger chunk of the population.
He did calculations politically.
Absolutely. He did.
Right?
Yeah.
And this, for me, my assessment of this is jealousy is how the jealousy of the bus owners is what gave birth to the matatu industry.
Yes.
Because Mzee Jomo Kenyatta poses a question that had they thought about that, would have changed the game, because he said, if you can't coexist, why don't you sell your buses and buy matatus? You do realize they had bigger capacity than the matatu owners to actually operate matatus. They would have probably driven them out of business.
Maybe not necessarily, because they were coming from an area of the colonial, the very stringent controls, which of the transport industry then, which was controlled by the TLB.
Yes.
So there were rules and regulations which were very tough.
Yes.
So of course the matatus could not, afford to get in and compete with them. But by that time, it was a monopoly.
Yes.
So that monopoly was being sustained by those stringent rules.
Yes.
So the matatus, when they jumped into the fray, they were definitely doing it from an illegal point of view.
Yes.
Yeah. No insurance, no stickers. They were, they didn't have any designated parking zones in town, etc., etc. So it was quote unquote illegal what they were doing.
Yeah.
But now Mzee realized that if he keeps it that way and the population of the young people who are getting into it were increasing, then he would have a problem with where to take them.
Wow. Okay.
So he had to agree to break the rules as they were, so that he could accommodate a bigger chunk of young men who would have been a danger to him if they were not occupied in productive work.
Okay. So now, among the bus owners of this time, the pioneers, I take a keen interest on Marete of Kamawe.
Yes.
And you detail his story very well from where he starts, like building capital from stone crushing, opening a restaurant, and now buying a truck and buying a bus, right?
Yes.
Do you figure this is the path for the 70 to 100 people, the clique that forms the first Kenya bus owners?
Indeed, it was. Very many of them, they were people who developed from very poor backgrounds.
Yes.
Because during the colonial days, Africans were not privileged. So many of them who want to come up there, they came up from the very bottom. So they worked hard to reach where they had reached and make enough money to own the PSV, the buses, so to speak.
Yes.
But of course, as it happens, after they succeeded and made themselves into a clique, a kind of a caucus, they wanted everything for themselves because that's the natural
order of things.
Order of things, And but there it is. In most of their stories, when you read most of their stories, most of them they started from scratch.
Then what do you think is the difference between, most people pass around the jokes. These people, if you ask me, I believe they created generational wealth for their descendants.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Especially Kamawe, like Marete. And Julie Success. When you go back, kidogo, to how they come about, the age group that is them, I believe to a great extent, this is the age group of my grandfather. My grandfather was born in 1930, Marete 1926. So same group, right?
Same group,
So what do you think is the difference between the grandfathers that did not think business and the grandfathers that made it to their 100?
Now, the grandfathers are our grandfathers, the ones who didn't get into business and the ones who did. I believe there was a big difference on how they grew up and the environments which they grew up in. Because like the Kamawe, the Marete, Jogo Kimakia, and the others, they will have grown up in environments where they were exposed to business and entrepreneurship. There were the others who were left home of that age, who did not look at this new incoming business as a livelihood. So they stuck, even if they were wealthy, they stuck with their cattle herds. And many of them also prospered that way. But this clique which came in to do the PSV business, the bus business, there were people who are thinking out of the box, so to speak, because they were not coming from environments of money and the money economy. So they were just thinking far much ahead of the rest.
So if you compare then, now, and the opportunities and daring to dream then, and you compare with a young person now, we are, probably my peers could be older than the likes of Jogo Kimakia and the 100 clique. How the opportunities have changed. You can't join the matatu business right now because it opened opportunities for our grandfathers in 1962. How do you think we should think in terms of opportunity? Because when I looked at the story of Marete, he drops out of school in class 5. Right? But and this is a hypothesis I've created. He works hard, stone crushing, saves money. So by the time he buys his bus, they pass by to show the bus off to a cousin who is in Form 6.
In Kangaro.
Yes. So I play a scenario whereby this is probably a cousin that chose to remain in school. So this could be two individuals who followed different paths. This cousin in Form 6 is just about to now get into the job market, start looking for opportunities. This guy right now, he's not even done with school. He buying a vehicle, it's 1967 around there.
1967 around there.
Exactly. That's a big deal.
It was. And a new one at that.
What does this tell us about education?
Now, education is good and is important. The thing is, if we look at it in terms of numbers, the people who get into the education stream for their positive progression in life, there are more of them who do benefit, right? So even if we say that the ones who don't, get educated and they succeed in life, they are few.
Statistically, yes.
They are few.
Yes.
But the ones who get educated and succeed are many, even by percentage-wise. So education is good.
It's an equalizer.
It's an equalizer.
Okay.
That's one. The second thing is that education pulls everybody into a pool of knowledge. And you're at a higher level when you start exploiting the knowledge than if you are not, if you did not have it. And, I believe that's an important point.
So then, solid point. When we come back to identification of opportunity, do you think someone like Marete gambled and won, or rather there's something about him that success was a guarantee? Success
was never guaranteed anywhere. Because when you follow up their histories, it was, they had to work very hard at it. They had to develop survival, tactics. And life wasn't easy then. In fact, things were more difficult then than they are now. But it wasn't luck. They had to work for it, but then it was not obvious. It was not given that, they were taking a line where they would succeed.
Okay.
It was tough.
Okay. And this comes across like a very sharp guy because when the matatus were legalized, and I think competition starts to hit the buses well, proper, right?
Yeah.
He decides to pivot into real estate.
Yes.
And he also does well there.
He also does well there because he under foundation of of entrepreneurship and looking at things and planning and things like that. He had already gotten into the success rail line, so to say. Yeah.
Do we then say that they are natural born entrepreneurs and they are people who are meant for the education system?
Difficult one to agree or disagree. But even now, as this present generation is also getting into education and others, and they are all getting into education and they go to university. When they finish and come out, there are some who make it very quickly and others who don't. So the ones who have got the spirit of of progress, still manage to make it faster than others. I think the genius of succeeding out here is certain qualities which are in people's minds of developing themselves, of being focused and being consistent and sustaining that for the long term. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Not a sprint.
Then what do we? I'll go back to something I asked earlier. What do we learn in terms of exploiting opportunity and business? Lessons that will be were relevant in the 1960s when Akina Jogo, Kemakia, and Marete are starting out, and today. Because I like to believe that certain things always remain constant.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
Now we have the conversation of population increase, which again, someone else would argue, should also not be seen. The population in Nairobi at around the time when Mohamed Moti are around starting out in business, I think Nairobi population was around 50,000, if I'm not wrong.
Or less.
Or less, right? Now it is, should we say 100-fold? Because it's 100-fold because right now the population in Nairobi during the day is 5 million.
Yeah.
As per the last figures I saw.
Yeah.
Then it means the opportunity for transport has expanded.
It has, sure, true.
But why would we advise people not to venture into matatu business? Yet, if you do this math statistically, probably the same opportunities that Akina Marete had, Kamawe had in 1960s could be the same as are there because we will say the demand for transportation is still there.
Yeah, the opportunities are there in the same way. Because in such businesses, you are exploiting the demand of this particular service. If that time there are only 50,000 Nairobians, the need for that service was very small. Now it's 4 million, the need is bigger. So the opportunity kind of is there in both scenarios. It is there. Only now there is more competition for it. You have to compete more because there are more of you out here who have to get on and do it well for you to succeed.
Yes.
And just like, that time, even now, the ones who succeed are the ones who excel in it, who are sharp, who get to understand it, and who excel in it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'll take you to two places. We'll skip and then we'll come back kidogo.
Right. Yeah.
Let's go to Nyayo Bus. Nyayo Bus comes as a tool for government to deal with the bus owners, as in to manage their blackmail.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
They give it to Geoffrey Griffin,
Yes.
retired major, to handle it.
Yeah.
And I get the impression from the story you give that with the structures Griffin had put in place, if that was followed to the letter in terms of the discipline, Kenyan transport sector would be so formal, disciplined, and probably, of course, it would not have taken away the opportunity that, or in terms of employment or investment, for the opportunities that the matatu industry has created. It would have expanded, especially. I'm curious to know whether the Parastatal would have worked with Griffin's laws minus the treasury support. First of all, is that possible?
Griffin's law minus treasury support,
yes,
it will not have worked still.
So let me break it down to Elewe. When Nyayo Bus had the support of the treasury, everything was a free flow.
Yes.
When it was released to be a parastatal, and you would assume it's very easy for them to have a monopoly, I would assume having the whole population up for the taking for them, that was a guarantee ticket to making money. The question now lies, to simplify it further, is if, as an investor, I am given the Nairobi as a county to run transport for, I have all the buses I need to transport Nairobians. It's not a guarantee that I will make money.
Yeah, it's not a guarantee.
Why do you say that?
Because there are three tenets of success in this business. First of all, you have to do the engineering right. That's undisciplined. Griffin could have managed to do that. The
engineering.
Engineering.
The technical or the...
Not just the technical, it's the whole structures of management. Then after that, you have to earn your money and make that money to be regenerative, right? Now, Griffin would have was quite successful on the engineering side. But once money is collected, where does it end up? How is it managed? Being a parastatal, it ended up, being put in a kitty, which now was available to be managed by others from, because it's a parastatal, it's a government extension of the, of this operation. So, and this is the indiscipline at another level when, money is made from the field and it comes into that kitty and it's not, plowed back into the business so that it can be used for making everything happen, then it was just a matter of time that they would start failing, and that's what happened.
That's what I'm asking. If by discipline, that, as in, if I have 100 buses in Nairobi, right? I have a route, okay?
Yeah.
Each, we can track every coin that comes in.
Yeah.
And every coin that goes out.
Yes.
Is this to say that even with structures in place, I will still not make money? Because what I'm getting is, like, minus the stealing, right?
Yeah.
Minus the stealing in the parastatal. I'm looking at the practicality of the business. Can the business sustain itself minus the stealing?
Yes, minus the stealing, it can sustain itself.
What does this look like in terms of opportunity? Let's paint a picture of the Nyayo Bus. They had, the fleet was growing. I felt pain, I felt bad that politics forced Griffin out.
Yeah.
And Griffin, in this case, I'm going to Griffin as a second case, but I'm looking at the overall transport sector, right? Are you saying that the Kenyan transport sector is super sustainable, it's a good business, but it's unsustainable because of stealing and stealing alone?
Yeah. Yeah. If anybody who succeeds in this business has to have systems of managing income when the money comes in, does it all end up in the kitty where it can be used by the company? That is the trickiest point. Because even now, operations as they are going on the road, one matatu is feeding very many people, and they get their share long before it comes to the investor. Yeah, the conductors take their share, the drivers take their share, either rightly or wrongly behind the scenes. Then there are the issues on the road where we know they are being stopped, and they are paying out. Yeah, there's so much taking away, eating out, draining from the kitty, which should end up in a central repository where it is now planned better. The ones who succeed are the ones who manage to create a formula of earning, getting at least 90% of what income is coming and putting it somewhere where now they can manage it. Those are the successful companies, and there are not many.
Let me paint you a picture so that we can work with hypothetical numbers.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
When we used to travel long distances, we used to look at buses as a money-making machine.
Yes.
So you look at a bus, 64-seater, right?
Yeah.
You buy a 64-seater bus.
Yeah.
And let's say you take a route to Busia. To Busia, the transport would be 1,500 to 2,000.
Let's use 1,500.
1,500, right? 1,500 shillings, one way.
Yeah.
How many trips can this bus do in a day?
It's one round trip.
Going and coming back.
Yeah.
So that's 3,000, right? 3,000 per passenger, assuming you carry at full capacity.
Yeah.
So that's 3,000 times 64. Right? That is round numbers.
Yeah.
So it goes, that's 192,000.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So in my kienyeji mathematics, I would assume that this bus works for 30 days without going to the garage. That is 5.7 million. 5.7 million, right?
Yeah.
And then if you do that in a year, times 12 months, that's operating at full capacity. That's 69 million. Like, that's 69 million, like gross.
Yeah.
I'm assuming in my Kenya, hey, this is a good business. This is gross numbers, 69 million, one bus.
Yeah.
And then from this 69 million, I'm assuming this bus is 20 million buying it, thereabout. 15 to 20
Use
million.
15.
15 million, right? 15 million. That means gross mathematics working for 30 days. It means you have made almost 70 million. You have, hey, dear Lord. So now, when you look at 69 million, let's say, for example, ukifanya kienyeji, hizi ni Java mathematics. Java mathematics useme 40% disappears.
Yeah.
Still 27 million. 27 million. It means this bus has almost paid itself twice in 1 year. What's wrong with that math?
You have just done the months from only the income side. You didn't know from the expense side.
That's why I put 40%.
40% is bare enough. Maybe there you have only catered for fuel only. You still have to factor in the tires used. You have to factor in the salaries and wages. You have to factor in the branch expenses, because when it reaches the other end, there is a branch there and there are people who are employed there. You go on and on. Now, even if you do a very, a clean, business where you are managing everything right, what you end up with will be 20% of that maximum. 20%.
If you work so hard.
Yeah.
If you work so hard. So 69 million 120 times 20% of that, that is 13 million. That is, you work so hard.
Yeah.
Working with the overheads. And that is almost working 30 days.
Yeah. We have ended up with how much?
13 million. 13.8 million.
Yeah. Now, then reduce it by 1/3. So get 2/3 of that. 2/3 of 13 million.
2/3 of that, that is 66%. That is 9 million.
9 million.
Yes.
9 million is kind of now the money which you have, and then now you start thinking of sharing that, using that one. That's a kind of a gross profit, kind of, let's say.
You have not even paid taxes here.
You have not paid taxes. Yeah.
So we are going back to the transport business is opening a business for other people.
Yes.
Because at this point, your money is shrinking and everyone else has been paid.
Everyone else has been paid. And interestingly, everybody else gets paid, and you, the investor, you are the one who is paid last. Because you have to pay for fuel upfront, you have to pay for tires, you have to pay your mechanics and your conductors and your drivers. If you don't pay them, they won't go for the trip.
Yes.
So everybody else is paid. You have to pay the bodybuilder, he is paid. You have to pay the supplier of the vehicle, it's paid. Then you chop up everything, and what remains is what is yours as the investor.
Oh.
Yeah. So it is tight. Money is there yet. We can't say that there is no money in it. Mm-hmm. But you have to be very astute to get everything working right so that you end up with your bet after doing all that.
And there's also competition. There's also seasons. So there's no way a bus does a round trip every day in 1 year.
No, it's not possible.
It's not possible.
Yeah, that's why I told you to remove a third. My 1/3 was the time when it is not going, when it's not moving, the downtime. Because it will be down for service, it will be down for various things.
And we've just removed the time. We have not removed the costs.
We have not removed. Well, I kind of used a percentage, which we used to knock down against the figure which we started off with. So it kind of has removed that one as a cost.
So now we have worked with my kienyeji mathematics.
Yes.
If someone was to come see you as a transport expert,
yes,
to consult on, let's say I have access, nimesikia tu kienyeji ati a bus goes for 15 million. And I'm like, instead of buying a Land Rover Discovery, the latest version, or a Range Rover, I would rather invest that money in transport, long distance. What advice would you have for me? What are the realistic figures you would give me?
I won't give you any figures. I will tell you to come and start very small. If you think you want to run, nobody runs one bus. If you run one bus, it won't work. So
nobody runs one bus.
Yeah, I mean, if you run one, it doesn't make any sense, any business sense.
What's the minimum entry?
You should talk of at least 3 buses.
Okay, man. You write that in this meeting, the 1973, March 1973 meeting, that the guy, Peter Mboro from Limuru, was struggling to fit in with 3 buses.
With 3 buses, yes. Now, look at the way the numbers are going up. If you are doing a route from here to Busia, for example, let's take a realistic one, Kisumu, because Kisumu or Eldoret, you are able to do it, to go and come back.
Yes.
When you are leaving here in the morning, another bus should be leaving the other side in the morning. Yeah?
Yes.
So there we are talking of 2 buses with the same
brand.
With the same brand. Because you are being identified as a transport operator. Mm-hmm. So one is leaving Eldoret, the other one is leaving Nairobi. Uh-huh. Right?
Yes.
Then a third one now is kind of the taking in the buffer. It's also doing its trips, which may not count as much as the 2, but in case one of these breaks down, you have this other one taking up the work, because you don't want to be offering a service which is not consistent.
This is not a game for small boys. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, it's not a game for small boys.
So what's the career progression of a bus owner? What do you mean when you... Akina Anani started with a bus, Marete?
Yes, they started, but now you can look at Marete's case, for example, which could reflect even the Bukinya guy also. When he started with that one bus, he was in there, he was either the driver or the conductor. Mostly they want to be the conductor so that they ensure that every coin goes into the pocket. right?
Yes.
So you are there working day and night. So it's highly demanding. Then after 6 months, now you make enough to buy another bus.
There's nothing like passive income. You're just sleeping and money just flows.
No. You do that and you get everything.
You
will
buy
go.
someone else a bus.
You'll be buying somebody else a bus.
So minimum is 3 because of the dynamics of the business.
Of the operation, yeah.
So you must be properly liquid too.
Well, yes, you must be properly liquid, or you must be very patient to start small and work very hard and then develop the numbers very quickly.
When you say start small, are you talking a motorbike?
No.
Yes.
One, of course, there is the aspect of starting small so that you can learn the business. Because what we see is not what is in there.
Yes.
So you have to go in, you learn to understand what is actually happening there. The trips, the way they are being arranged, the way you have to treat your conductors and the drivers, the way you have to deal with competition, right? To know people, to make your networks within the industry.
Yes.
Yeah. So that you know the reliable sources of spare parts, for example. That's all learning. Yeah. And
it influences earning.
Yes, later on it influences earning because it is part of your that knowledge which you gain is the one which you are going to use at to leverage your growth. You get. So you have to plan to start small. It's not an issue of money.
It's not an issue of money.
No. In fact, if you have too much money, you fail.
What are you saying?
Because you come and start big to impress, and you'll be doing very many things, and you'll be noticed. But within 1 year, you won't last. It's not money. It is understanding the business and then growing with it gradually.
So what is okay? Starting small is starting with a bus.
Yeah.
But still, you need to start with 3 for it to make sense.
Well, my figure of 3 really is
relative.
It is relative because if you are a big investor, you would want to, and you have been investing elsewhere, you want to come with some good money, so you can afford to buy even 10. You are the one I'm telling you not to buy 10. Buy 2, and understand how they are working, the intricacies of the business, and then grow them now to 10, 20, 40, right? Because then you have the institutional knowledge. You have attained the institutional knowledge to be able.
You have to have the institutional
knowledge. You have to develop and attain the institutional knowledge.
Okay. What's the difference between operating a bus in a structured system like Easy Coach, like Eldoret Express? Easy Coach, let me say Easy Coach and Guardian compared to Machakos Country Bus. You just bring your vehicle to the field, compete with everyone else.
Now, the Machakos operators, they are kind of juakali. One, they don't have schedules. They don't stick on schedules, right? They don't have discipline. They don't have universal discipline. You can't sell universal discipline in Machakos because when you are there in the country bus, because there you are competing with everybody else and you are doing the game in the same way. So you can't develop a brand at the country bus.
But I've seen Bukenya at country bus. They built a brand there. I've seen Dolphin building a brand there.
Where is Dolphin now? It stayed for just a few years and it folded.
The issue is not the number of buses you have.
Yeah. The issue is you build up systems which you can sustain and create a brand and maintain that brand name.
Akamba bus had a brand.
Akamba, they had a brand.
And then where are they now?
Okay, let me tell you the case of Akamba. They had a brand. They were running very well. Then the owner died around the year 2000. The mzee who used to run everything, he died of old age.
Yeah.
When he died, the people who took over didn't know how to do it. They had been part of him as family members, but there are intricacies of the business which they never understood because they were there assuming things all along. So when the father was no longer there, they could keep the same discipline going. So the company folded up.
What is so hard about tunaweka mafuta ya pesa fulani, we usually, this is the service cost, this is what people are paid, a system that already exists. So there is more to that, there is more to this transport business than the structures that we assume exist.
Yes, there is more to it. There is discipline. Behind the scenes, there is a lot of discipline. To be consistent, doing these things day in, day out, year in, year out, like Ise Coach now has done it for 22 years. There's a lot of discipline behind the scenes and consistency. Those who fail to have that, or when that one breaks, for whatever reason, due to probably the founder, getting out of the scene, and the people who are left now can't hold, the same discipline and the same structures, then the company will fold up very fast. There are no guarantees of anything. It's not like I'm building like this, which you say, even if it fails to be a restaurant, I can open or rent it out, or lease it out for somebody else to do a different business. No. These are moving assets. They are either moving and making money, or they are stopped and making no money. And as a business, the running costs, already are there. They are high. You have got a staff of 500 people. You have drivers and everybody. They're have to earn a salary at the end of every month. So those buses have to keep on moving to generate this money always, so that it can be used to run these structures. The moment it flops, it stops, then you just start falling very, very fast.
Is there a difference between having a system where drivers are earning money every day, they pay themselves first, compared to a structure where they earn a salary like a formal, like informal employment?
Now, in fact, that is that's part of the intricacies of operating the business. Now, the companies which are structured, which run like Isiko, which runs in a structured format. We have for example, there's a payroll, and drivers are on payroll. They are not paid the salaries every day. They're just given their allowances for trip allowances, but then every one of them has a salary. So that one runs very consistently and predictably. If you have the other situation of where they do the impromptu thing,
yes,
and most bus operators, by the way, run like that, very many run like that, then they have issues. They have issues of retention, driver retention. They have issues of safety, road safety, yeah, because there are some probably certain other things we can talk about when it comes to accidents, which relate to that aspect of managing the human resource management as it relates to drivers and the way they are used on the road.
Please break that down for us.
Now, look at the case of, we have just been through a very busy season, December season,
yes,
which starts in mid-November and finishes in mid-January. It is a period where anybody with a bus, they run full, especially if it is the time of closing, they are going out to the country, they are full. When you reach the other end, you come out full to Nairobi, where you pick another charge of full bus to go back. Now, you find without formal employment structures, especially for the drivers, you find drivers being compelled to work throughout. Like you live here, you go to Kisumu, you drop the people, you come back without rest. We come back to Nairobi. And when you come back to Nairobi, probably the vehicle goes in to be cleaned and to be checked for about 2 hours, 3 hours maximum. And that is the 3 hours you're supposed to take your rest, right? And when it is full again, you are called upon to come and take the bus again and start going back to Kisumu. So you find they are doing many trips without enough rest. And that's part of that's a recipe for the bad accidents which we see during these peak seasons.
Okay.
Now, if you look at a structured company like Coach, we strictly operate with one driver in the bus from Nairobi. But when he reaches Kisumu, he stops the bus, gives it to another driver who will do the return trip. Amy goes to sleep. The company has leased hostels in Kisumu, either in an hotel or a building where they are taken care of. You go and sleep. The following day is when you take another bus which will be brought by somebody else. So you find in this case you have drivers going and resting for overnight, either overnight or during the day, depending on the time you arrive.
No one does a round trip.
Nobody does a round trip, right? Now, if you look at probably others, we can't name anybody, but you find them having 2 drivers in the bus, because the rule says you have 2 drivers per bus. So you leave Nairobi with 2 drivers. So legally you have fulfilled the requirement, the requirement that you have 2 drivers. So you drive to Kisumu. And when you probably reach Nakuru, the other driver can take over. The one who was driving, you go back and find yourself a seat and sleep. Yeah. Now, when you reach the other head, when you reach Kisumu, the round, the return period, the time it takes to go back is the same as Coach, for example. But it's only the 2 drivers who are going to do again the return journey. So you find within 15 days, these 2 drivers never have a formal rest. They are always in the vehicle, either driving to or fro. So even if you are not physically on the steering, you are still somewhere in the bus being presumed to be resting. Now that is part of what creates very many these bad accidents which we see during the peak season.
And now that you've mentioned accidents, there's also the other element of the materials used for the construction of the bodies of these vehicles. And I'm assuming for the people looking at it from an entrepreneur's perspective in terms of cutting costs, people would rather use the dangerous materials to actually fast track the return on investment.
Well, at that point, it's not being called return on investment. What happens is that once you buy the new bus chassis, which doesn't have the body, you take it to a bodybuilder. Now, before 2016, I think, or 2020 there, the bodybuilders, because they go and give you the quotation, and you being the owner, probably you are taking the lowest, the lowest cost. So they build the body. Now, when you are building the bus body, you have to have strong, rigid ribs. I could call them ribs, so that in case the bus
tips over,
the body doesn't collapse, right? But so now, if you are using materials which are not of proper quality, and the quality is in terms of strength, then they are cheaper, and you end up with a weak body structure. But then that one was taken care of by the regulations which were brought up by the NTSA, that the specifications were given. Okay. And what happens these days is that when the bus goes to the bodybuilders, when they put up the structures, the officers from the transport, Ministry of Transport, inspector, they come and inspect to see that the ribs have been put properly of the right material. Yeah. So before you proceed, an engineer from the ministry comes and signs off that the structures are right.
And that is being done?
It's being done now, but before it wasn't being done.
Okay.
And if probably we can maybe look at some pictures of accidents which we have here, to see the effect of weak structures. I'm looking for the accident part, where the weak structures are properly demonstrated, the way the vehicle collapses.
There's page 158.
Page 158.
Yes.
No, that one is a crash. That one was a frontal crash. Let's look for one which is where the
Page
body is
163.
163. 163. Yes, 163.
Yes.
Now look at that.
Fort
Tenan
accident. Yes.
So Tenan accident.
Yes.
That one you can see the top part of the body. There is nothing. Everything has disintegrated.
Yes.
Now
yes.
that's a structure which was very weak structure.
Yes.
And this Fort Tenan accident was which year? It was in 2019 January.
Yes.
So this is a bus which was probably built in 2017, 2018. Then the conditions which were put in later by the Ministry of Transport were not yet operational. So now we see with this one, all the seats are open.
Yes.
It's been stripped completely.
Recipe for disaster.
Yeah. And now what happens to the people who are here?
You can't survive.
Survival is, yeah. Now, if this structure was rigid, this whole bus would just have rolled in one piece. So people inside would be banged around, yes. But then
and if they had their belts on,
if they have their belts on, yeah,
a higher chance of survival.
Very high chance of survival. So, conditions like that, also come to play in these accident scenarios.
100% compliments to NTSA if they at all do everything you have described.
Yeah.
They do now. Okay, so now we'll come back to the bus business because we thought that's like the creme de la creme of making money in the transport sector. In fact, Eldoret Express is the same story, but they still have buses around.
I don't think they're operational anymore. I don't think so. I don't think so.
So if a company goes down, it goes down completely?
Yes, it goes down completely.
Okay, in terms of going down, let's paint a picture. Nyayo bus service, right?
Yeah.
If the money was tracked, if Kenyans were disciplined, I'm a fan of hypothesis.
Yeah.
Do you see as it, can it as a parastatal have grown into a solid employer for Kenyans?
Now, being a Kenyan and knowing the way parastatals run, I would say it is very difficult for a parastatal to succeed in the business, in the PSV business. Because the parastatals which lean on to doing business, they are not being run by businessmen. They are being run by selected executives. People who just come and
political handouts.
Either handouts politically, or they are pulled from environments which are not, business, so to speak. Even if you are picked from the university as being a professor there, and you in engineering or in economics, and you are told to come and run this business, you don't know how it is run.
Basically, the parastatals get run down for being run by people who are unqualified to hold those positions.
To hold those positions, yes. And the qualification here is not academic. It's not the academic
experience in that sector.
It's experience in that sector. It's understanding the business. It's the reason why I said even when you are starting, start small. Then you grow.
Okay.
Because when you start small, you get to know the intricacies of the business when it is still young. When the risk is small, then now it grows.
If allowed to work without interference, do you think the parastatal would have succeeded if Griffin was at the helm?
Possibly.
Without interference?
Without interference, yes. Without interference, it would have succeeded. But now, listen to this one. It will only be the figure of Griffin is disciplined who will be making it work. When he leaves the scene, whoever else, the other people who come and take over, they will not run it the way you would have, the way he ran it.
What does this tell us about the Kenyan business environment then?
Nothing wrong with the business environment. It is the people.
Our culture as a people.
I don't even say that we blame the culture. It is the aspect of understanding what you are doing. In anything which you want to do, do you understand it? Do you understand this business? The thing is, business out there is very competitive. any business which you pick, even if it's running a supermarket, even if it's running a kiosk, it's very competitive. And you just can't come from nowhere, from anywhere, and come and run a successful business. You have to be very lucky. I don't think there is anybody who is that lucky. You have to come and understand it so that you start now operating from a point of view of knowledge and developing from a knowledge-based point of view.
So this ties to the story of Julie's success.
Yes.
Mzee Mwaura runs his business so well, and my hypothesis is, okay, the NIC Bank approaches him,
yes,
and gives him two buses to pilot the project of the Manyanga matatus that we have.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
They trust him based on the display of experience he has shown with his matatus.
Yes.
Or by virtue of the fact that most of the documents for people seeking loans has his signature appended to them.
Where it started, he was already running matatu, the Pujo, the old Pujo Face Me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was running the Pujo, the Pujo station wagons. You remember the ones which used to operate?
Yes,
the ones which were going to Machakos, and he owned a few.
Yes.
And from there, he developed now, he is the one who came up with the concept of the Manyanga. Either he came up with it or he picked it through the research which had been carried out by the NIC, I think, and the World Bank.
In fact, you put it as, no. They brought it to him because some banker had seen an opportunity there.
Yes.
And in Ukambani, the roads, the kind of vehicle that would make sense using that route is the Isuzu, the particular brand of vehicle that becomes Manyanga now.
Yes. So
they trust him, not because, and this goes into the idea of you can't be given money to start.
Yeah. He had a track record. He had a track record of running some other, the Pujo saloons, the station wagons. He had a track record.
So money must find you moving.
Money must find you moving. If money finds you sleeping, it will leave you sleeping and go to the next door.
Really? Please break that down further. Of course, I understand the context.
Yes.
We have not even gotten to your storytelling side.
Yes.
Break that down for us, like when money finds you sleeping. Do you have an example for that? Because this book is so well written, and one of the things I enjoy is like the contextualization.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to lose the train of thought of when money finds you sleeping, money finds you moving. One of my favorite contexts was how President Moi plays the story of the two giants.
Yeah.
Very wonderful story.
Yeah.
And then as you read about it, you already start to form context here, where this is going, and then you find exactly this is what happens. And now I'm tempted to go back to how much does Moi as a teacher, the subject he teaches, the content he interacts with in terms of, let's say, African fables, play into his leadership for people to call him a professor of politics. Now, without losing that train of thought, money finds you sleeping, it goes to someone else.
It goes to someone else.
Uh-huh.
Because the thing is, being active and out there interacting with life.
Yes.
Is it's what makes sense out of everything, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And I think even as a concept, even if we take it literally, if you are sleeping, you are sleeping. Kiruwa unalala umelala. Na kama umelala, opportunity hasita kupata. They will come and meet that you are sleeping, and they will just go elsewhere. So, well, partly, the Kenyan psyche is very, dynamic. Kenyans are very dynamic, and
Kenyans as a customer or Kenyans as an investor?
No, as a culture. We have a culture of dynamism, which has developed over time.
Yes.
And people are very active, and that's how they come up. When opportunities arise, we find there are so many people who are able to grab them and and run away with them. So yes, not many Kenyans are found sleeping, but hypothetically, if you are one of them and you are found, money comes and finds you sleeping, then you'll not be there to enjoy the opportunity it comes with. Yeah, that's what I can say about that.
So in this context, for the people who invest in the transport sector, specifically your area now, in the buses, are these the same investors, the person who bought 3 buses that is buying more to build his fleet, or there is someone else who's also buying a bus and bringing it into the fleet?
I think the business developed into it grew. That business grew and developed into, it became more sophisticated. Initially, everybody was getting into it with their worth. So if what you're able is to buy 5 buses, the business was running with 5 buses. But as change reached, when the SACCO spirit came in, and I believe I've covered it somewhere, and the SACCO spirit, even long before it was adopted by the government, I think it started with the Molo Line. Molo Line was the originator of the SACCO.
SACCO, yes.
Yes, though it wasn't called SACCO, they may have had another name for it, but it was running along the lines of a cooperative. So you create an establishment with the superior knowledge of running matatus, or running PSV vehicles, and when he was running, he found that he had capacity to manage more, but he didn't have the capital. So he calls in his friends who come in and invest in the business. So if we say his call fleet was 10, for example, he calls in people who are purely investors. Maybe they are not even in this business, but they trust him. So they are executives working in banks, teachers, maybe successful teachers who have saved money through their circles. They bought vehicles. So there, even if you buy one and bring it to Molo Line, Molo Line were able to run it as part of their fleet and gives you, it pays for itself, and they buy tires, they pay for drivers, they do literally everything. So they are, that way the fleets grew. They grew and they became big. So
it
now
moves from individualism.
Yeah, it moves from individualism. And now very many of the circles we are seeing around are run like that.
Okay.
Very many of them. Even among the bigger companies, PSV companies, there is also an element of that. Yeah. So there is pooling resources together.
And branding is very important.
Branding is very important. So the key thing is, look at Supermetro, for example. The core owners of Supermetro, there will be 1 or 2 people at the top, maybe 3. They are the ones, they mastered the art of operation, right? And then they are the nucleus. Then now they pull in their friends who come and invest through them, right? So they could be running now maybe even 200 vehicles out there, but theirs could be 20, or that at the most. But the others are coming from other people. But they are trusted, and they have developed the skills to do the business. They have systems. They have a brand, and they maintain that brand, right? So they succeed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you come in and then you are all alone and you are not in that, for one, the condition already which is there is that for you to be registered as a SACCO, you have to have at least that buses, that vehicles, that PSV vehicles. Okay. So if you have 20, you can't get a license. You can't develop a brand with 20. So you have to co-opt others, and you build the fleet, so then you can have a brand. You can have an Easy Coach brand, or Guardian, or Inner Coach, Super Coach, and the others.
Okay. I'm a big fan, and I identify as a student of economics.
Yes.
We have a gentleman called John Lowe. I believe it's John Lowe, who is described as the greatest oil salesman. Oil as in petrol.
Yeah.
Because he used to lead strikes so much that people, investors and industrialists, opted to drop coal. Like, he used to mobilize coal miners, they strike so much, then people started looking for alternatives. And that's how the birth of the petroleum industry, paraffin, people started looking for other means of energy creation because this was becoming too much.
Too much, yeah.
Right? Now, let's bring this into context. The bus owners were holding the government at ransom at some point with blackmail and stuff. And I believe this is where Mzee Jomo Kenyatta looks at these guys need to be tamed and I need to get a hold of these guys somehow. And that's why he says yes to matatus. To a great extent. I believe it forms part of his reason.
Maybe yes and no. No, because during the time of Jomo Kenyatta, the numbers and sophistication of the business are not grown as much. It was still small. It was, forming itself.
Less
and
than
it was
1,000
growing.
vehicles.
Yeah, there were few.
Yes.
But after Kenyatta, when Moi came in, the business are now grown to be big and sophisticated. And the categories are already formed themselves.
Yeah, but something you capture in the book, which I believe we can attribute to the success of the matatu, was they won the prize war in 1972.
Yeah.
1972, 73, after the Munich attack. They stuck to the price, 30 cents.
Yes.
And that's how they priced out the buses.
Yeah.
And I believe this was their marketing strategy, greatest marketing strategy, because this is, I believe, from an economic perspective, as a fan of this concept of cause and effect, I believe the matatu sticking to 30 cents, while the buses hiked prices because of the cost of fuel, is where they really hit, because Mwananchi wants to save money, right? Yeah. So by the time Moi comes, right, they've become a beast of their own. In fact, you write that they had developed proper political clout to also negotiate with government.
Yeah. Correct,
right?
Correct.
So do we say, what do you think happens if Mzee Jomo Kenyatta had said no to matatus?
If he had said no to matatus, the matatus would not have died. Even prior to the meeting at Ishiaweri to discuss the subject, the matatus were not illegal, they were still illegal and they were still operating.
They would have still won.
They would have still continued to operate and still being bothered around by the police on the way, etc. But
it would have been a way of life.
It would have been a way of life. Yeah.
Is this to say, for the people who dream about sanity, let's use quotes, sanity in the Kenya transport sector, like sometimes Super Metro gets celebrated because they are seen as organized and stuff. So the dream or the thought of having the matatu industry as structured as Super Metro is an imagination. It's purely an imagination.
It's not an imagination any longer. It was, but not anymore, because it has already been done and it has succeeded. So it can be seen. So anybody coming into the industry now has actually something to see. You are coming and you're seeing the way they are running, and then you say you can also run, yours like that. There is an example to follow. But prior to that, yes, it was an imagination. It was a business concept which had not been tried to work or fail. But now there is some basis of development along that line.
Would this then go to qualify that matatu should not be what we imagine them to be? Matatu should just be matatu. Our imagination of, people in suits driving, people in suits doing the conductor work, that is imagination of the elitism, like trying to bring elitism, whereas what we have works and it works the way it is.
Now, you see, in life, there are challenges in life. Whatever you want to do, you are called upon to try and refine it and make it be better. Right? That's a universal, aspect of life.
Yes.
You want to improve on things and make them better, right? And if we have a starting point where we are running with the matatus in an informal setup where people are dirty and things like that, we remember when Michuke came in and put his foot down and put in rules and the regulation to follow. Though they rejected it initially, after he refused to give in, everybody, fell into line.
Yes.
And things improved. You're going to see under the queues being done, etc., etc. Now, we can't succumb we can't surrender to failure when we can see good examples happening and then not seeking to succeed like them.
Okay.
So I would rather say that and growth is a challenge, but we have to try and grow and make things to work better.
Okay.
So if we are used to finding, matatu drivers, conductors, and tidy, shouting everywhere, we should not take that one as status quo and say that is the way it should go.
Okay.
Somebody should come out from a control point of view and put down rules and regulation to say don't do and don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
One would assume that the transport sector, for context purposes, the transport sector has grown into a beast that can only tame itself, like a beast that can only make its own rules. Let me qualify that statement. If a visionary leader comes right now and says they would want to do an overhaul of the Kenya transport system, you've drawn a funnel of the beneficiaries of who, and before you get paid, how many people a single matatu feeds, right?
Yeah.
Someone comes and says Kenya is going the light rail system, light rail direction. Let me bring the example closer home. We are doing the SGR, and they do it correctly.
Yeah.
They bring, let's say, electric trains that take that can guarantee transport from Nairobi to Mombasa in 3 hours.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If it works efficiently, it means that this kills the bus transport in Nairobi-Mombasa route.
Interestingly, that's what we were thinking when SGR came, but it did not kill the buses.
I've given an example of electric trains that can take you from railways to Mombasa CBD in 3 hours. Efficiency, like I believe that's possible, right?
Yeah, it's possible.
If that was to happen, if the government policy would create that, it will mean killing the existing Nairobi route for buses.
I think it changes the whole picture. Maybe it reduces the numbers flowing, but it won't kill it. Because there is an aspect of preferences. So there are people who prefer to go down on the road, etc., etc. But certain numbers will be cut off and then go to the SGR. But there will still always be people remaining on this other side.
Okay, I agree. But let's put the dynamics. Cost, right? Cost number one.
Yeah.
Right. If a half an hour flight to Mombasa would cost, let's say, 7,000 to 10,000, and then on top of that you'll have taxi charges. But the government comes up with a system that can ferry the population. Like you can actually get a ticket at a fraction of the price, probably, and they build capacity in terms of numbers. Let's assume the Nairobi to Mombasa route has traffic of 1,000 passengers, 100,000. Let's say 5,000 passengers in a day, I'm assuming, right? And then they come up with a rail system that is more efficient. You will not have traffic. You can balance time, and they do that, and they execute. You're still sure that will not run the buses out of business?
They will be run out of business.
So would we now say, hypothetically, that as there are some developments that we cannot jump into as a country because we have to go slow because we may build the economy by killing another side of the economy?
Yeah, absolutely. It will kill the bus industry. And if you look at the pie chart, which is sharing out the spoils of the business, the people who are employed, the number of people who are employed by the PSV industry is very big.
Yes.
So if you come with a more efficient system which takes that business in one swoop, and it is employing very few people, the government will be left with a problem. What to do with the rest who have been left jobless? And they are not few. I'm not just talking about drivers and conductors. We are talking of the bodybuilders, we are talking of the mechanics, we are talking of the tire suppliers, spare parts suppliers, the whole lot, fuel suppliers. There is a whole industry, a big chunk Kenyan population which is employed by the transport industry. So even whatever the government does, they are, at the planning level, they have to balance out and see that they don't chop themselves on the foot.
So
because you might think that you are being very smart, but you outsmart yourself, and then you create problems again.
Unintended consequences.
Yeah.
So even as we promise development, we want to take this country from point A to point B, you must also factor things as they are.
As they are. What will you do with these people? And the people who will think about that, you have to think very deeply for you to appreciate the fact that you have to balance these things out from all sides. Yeah, it's not just fluke, right? So you are going for efficiency here. Even if you made travel by air free,
yes,
and everybody is traveling by air, you are subsidizing 100%, and you kill everything else around. The same transport industry. You'll be having the following day. You have so many people who are jobless.
Yes.
Children are not going to school. Food, there is no food to eat. Then what do you do with them?
Yeah. That's deep. So now something else you write now that we've sunk into business, something else you write is about the Indian business model.
Yeah.
You said when the Indians, and I believe this is the time of Mohammed Moti and Sons, as in the Indians, by the way, and they are very convenient beneficiaries of timing, perfect time and perfect place.
Yeah.
But somehow, I believe the Gujarati, the enterprising community of the Indians, they had mastered business in such a way that even if the Europeans tried to dip their legs in that business, they would bankrupt you.
Yes, and they did. They are so smart. Even looking at it from that scenario of that time, they were, the Europeans. They were the ones running the colony.
Yes.
And we could imagine that the government officers and administrators would favor their brothers, even to give them tenders for the business. But then the Indians, when they came in and they started being the merchants, to do the merchandising,
yes,
they started operating, like the example given there, on zero profit.
They would rather not make a profit,
yes,
than you enter that business.
Yes. Now, what happened is that they would just buy things, sell almost at cost what they are selling to the government. Then the containers, let's say if there's fuel or oil, those containers, they sell the containers, and from what they sell from containers is what they make money from.
So right? You can't come competing with them.
You can't compete with them. So by now sustaining that one for 3, 4, 5, 6 months, the other European investors who are gunning for this business, to do business with their colonial government, they couldn't succeed. So they had to fold up and do other things or go back where they came from. So now when they are left by themselves again, now they started applying the business principles now of profit and everything.
So it's like an unwritten rule.
Yes.
Anyone who's outside their ecosystem, when you try, they reduce.
Yes.
Is this like an agreement of some sort that they know?
In a way, yes, because they came in as families and they could identify with each other. And even in the supply chain, let's say if they were importing anything, they would have their brothers in Mombasa. Then the goods will come to Nairobi and they take them and then they transport them to the various places where they were being sold. And if we think back during those days, the name Dukawala was an Indian name.
Yes.
And they had set themselves in all the remote towns. They are the ones who literally started all these small little towns around the country.
Okay.
There is none without an Indian pedigree. Even the small little, the towns in the villages.
Yes.
So they commanded that line almost in total, and they are communicating in one language, so they can talk and understand each other. They meet for social, they meet in social gatherings. They meet in the mosques, the temples. So yes, they would say it is a strategy which they said one way or the other.
What does this tell us about starting a business and running a business? Because this strategy that they use has made it possible for them to start generational wealth kind of business, generational businesses, right?
Yeah,
so this, first of all, means you cannot just come up with an idea and say, I want to invest in A, B, C, D, and just to make money. These people are willing to lose money.
Yeah.
To stay afloat.
To stay afloat.
So the motivation, first of all, is not profit.
Yeah.
It's not what you're getting today.
No, it's long term.
And it's long term because you also write that Mohammed Moti's business, from the 1940s, the shop still stands.
Yes.
In Meru.
Yes. In fact, they started in Meru in 1914. That's when they set up shop in Meru.
Oh, I'm confusing because Marete is born in 1926. Moti was born in 1896.
1890s.
Then yes. So now it means then we go about business the wrong way. Assuming you see the success of the Indian community and assume just because you can have access to capital, you want to start a business to pay rent, that's a lie.
That's a lie. It starts far. It's generational. And this is not to say generation to keep off anybody, but you need to learn the ropes. You need to learn the game. We go back to where we started with the buses, where we are saying you should start small and grow. And as you are growing, then you are teaching your immediate family members. They are growing up there with you. They are seeing what is happening. So by the time they become big, they already understand the concept of business. Yeah. It doesn't.
Okay. There's something about Mzee Mwaura of Julie Success, and there's something about Marete of Kamawe. Julie Success, his signature is in the bank in terms of the people he recruits in the business.
Yes.
Kabisa, like the people he's bringing in.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And I think I identify that as service to humanity.
Yeah.
Marete of Kamawe, he goes to crush stones with his brother.
Yeah.
It is his brother who he starts the business with.
Yeah.
What's the place of, like, hey, I have found something, let me grow with the community? What's the place for that?
I think that one boils down to personalities. Because like Mzee Mwaura of Machakos, I think he had the spirit of wanting to help others. So he didn't grow alone. He grew with others. He developed very many of them. Then there are the others who are taking in the unitary line, like Marete, who kind of earned the wealth to themselves. They grew to the extent they could, probably to a maximum of 10 buses. And when the matatus became too much, they sold off the buses and they moved into real estate. But it's a wealthy man who grew alone. And I don't think out of his immediate family that he pulled in many to grow with them. No.
Okay.
But that's a personality issue.
Okay.
But others are open-minded. They don't eat alone. They want to bring in more people to grow. To mentor more people.
But for the businesses that you start alone, most likely they end with you.
They end with you.
That is
definitely they do.
Procedure.
Yes, they end with you. They end with you.
As we come to a close, I had something running through my mind.
Yeah.
And I like how you have transitioned from, you have stayed true to the theme of the book, but how the backgrounds have been given is magical.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I am fascinated about Griffin's contribution to the transport sector, but there's a background about Griffin, the person.
Yeah.
In not only his contribution to the transport sector, but also to education, because he came up with Starehe.
Yeah.
But we go back to the 1940s, 1950s.
1954.
1954, that's 2 years after the emergency.
Yeah.
He, in his young years, I believe we can say he has a lot of Mau Mau blood in his hands.
Yeah.
Because when you say, when in the context of the military, when you say a military campaign,
Yeah.
that is the angel of death.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So in my hypothesis, when he comes to make serious contributions to the Kenyan education system and transport sector and discipline in whatever he touches, and in fact his contribution to the Nyayo bus service, the grants, the structures he's put in place, people really benefited, and he made President Moi very popular.
Yes, he did.
Right? By his contribution.
Yeah.
When it comes to humanity, is there a balance between how much evil someone does versus the good they do to balance?
I think with Griffin, what happened in 1954, because he was the one who was the commander of the, I think they called it Operation Jock something.
Anvil. Operation Anvil.
Operation Anvil.
Yes.
It was conducted in Chuka, Meru.
Yes.
So he was adding that one to deal with the Mau Mau in eastern Mount, the eastern Mount Kenya. So yes, he killed, or rather his operation, of course, killed many people.
Yes.
But it was war. Remember, during those days, it was war. It was emergency and it was war, and it belonged to the other side. But when it was all over and independence came, I believe he will have looked back at himself and disagreed with what he had represented from his background as a colonial administrator or as a colonial military person.
Okay.
And probably he wanted to atone.
Yes.
To atone nature, and in this case, the Africans, for the art which he had done to them. And then he went to Fumblas now in creating this, the Stare Boys Center, helping poor people, the poor children who are being, who are the chokoras, so to speak. And probably he also wanted to prove a point that growing up in privileged environment does not necessarily make you successful relative to somebody who comes from a poor background.
Okay.
Because he picked these children from the streets, he put them in an institution, he supplied everything, he gave them education, and in 5, 6, 10 years' time, they were the champions of industry all around. And even up to today, there are very many of them who are doing that. So, he brought it to atone and to prove a point. And he extended this one into the very many other things which he did together with the government.
Okay. As
when he was running the Nyayo bus, I believe it was his concept even as it was, because he was the one who started the NYS, the National Youth Service Movement.
Yes.
It's the one who started it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That explains the paramilitary aspects of it.
Yes. And it was his baby. And then at this point when he starts the Nyayo bus, it was a way of putting these people he was training in the NYS, giving them work which could sustain them for long. And if he had been allowed to continue, I think he would have been a very successful corporation. Brilliant. But unfortunately, he didn't continue. But that said, he wasn't really competing at par with everybody else. He was kind of, his Nyayo bus was here when everybody else was here. Because Nyayo bus was being funded from contributions from outside. He was a good fundraiser. So he raised a lot of money from well-wishers in Europe, especially Denmark, Belgium, countries like those. He brought in that money. They were coming in kind. They brought in the MRF buses. They brought in the Ivecos. There were also a few Scanias, etc. So his fleet was not funded through banking loans. They didn't have a capex. To them, capex was zero.
But when the rubber meets the road, he was profitable.
Yeah, he was profitable, but now looking at it, probably it would not have been sustainable in the long run.
Okay.
Because he was operating at zero capex. When everybody else is paying loans, they were paying nothing.
Yes.
right? And at that point also NYS, the boys of NYS he was using were not earning salaries. They were kind of earning allowances because they are government, employees.
Yes. The overheads were extremely low.
Extremely low. And even when it went up a notch higher, they were still receiving funds from the treasury. Let's say it was a political thing. It was more political thing, which it was politics meeting entrepreneurship and anthropology. I mean, is it anthropology? This wanting to help.
Okay. Oh, philanthropy.
Philanthropy, not anthropology.
Yes.
It was philanthropy, meeting with politics somewhere.
Yes.
And then meeting with the business environment. So when he lasted with all the things he was doing, he served Moi. I mean, he gave Moi a big edge to popularize himself. So the politics of the day benefited a lot from him.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And then there are the people who also benefited from him. Yes. But in the long run, it would not have been. It was not sustainable. It would still have collapsed.
Solid submission. And from the account of this book, do we say that the Mount Kenya region takes the credit for the revolution of the Kenyan transport sector? Because as we finish with where we started, the meeting at Ishaweri Mzee Jomo Kenyatta's home in Gatundu starts with a group of 70 to 100 people whom he addresses. He addresses in Kikuyu.
Yes.
Which means all the initial investors in the transport sector were from Mount Kenya.
They were. Apart from let's say the Africans who were in the business, because there were the Asians who were in the business. Yes. There were the Arabs from the coast who were in the business. Yes. So the African element, the Africans who were in the business, most of them were from Mount Kenya.
Does this come about because of exposure and the focus of the Europeans to Mount Kenya, because that's where the land they needed was the most?
Partly yes. Partly, maybe to a large extent, yes, because the ecosystem of business growth, the PSV business growth, the matatu business, the ecosystem was centered around Nairobi and the heavy populated areas, which was mostly, in central.
Yes.
So yes, they were privileged to have been there at the right time for them to take it. Yeah.
Okay.
Then they were among the first one to be exposed to the money economy.
Yes, you're right that Africans struggled with money as a concept.
Yes, money as a concept. Yes. You remember when Mudumbe of Bukinya, when he went to look for to try to find the money to finance his business around 1964, there was no bank which was willing to give him any loan. Yeah. At the same time, Indians would go and get financed probably by banks which were working.
Yes.
They are working with. But Africans didn't have anybody to finance them.
Yes.
So you want to work very hard and collect enough money and probably carry it and go to CMC with a bag full of notes and coins, dump it there, and you spend the whole day counting, and then you drive out in your new vehicle.
Get a seat at the table.
Yes. So Africans were not privileged. They had to work very hard to get into that level.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sawa. Hey wadau, the Kenyan transport sector, PSV, as a whole has been put together in a book, very neatly done. Hii kama hata upendi kusoma, definitely you'll like the vibe. Imagine, tumepiga story without even going hard into the fables and the wonderful storytelling that has been covered in this book. Very good work. Not just because we've had you on the show, but sincerely, please, if you can grab a copy of this book from the Nuria store, the link iko hapa kwa hii description ya hii video, just click and grab an order yako. It can be read by anyone. I believe this can also go to high school for someone who wants to open their mind in terms of understanding business and entrepreneurship.
And possibly even people doing research.
Yes.
For the transport sector in Kenya.
Yes.
Maybe even in the university.
100%.
There is a lot of content.
Yes.
And one thing I can say, when I was carrying out research to write this book, I searched everywhere and there was no information available in the transport industry in Kenya at all.
There are even tables of the mathematics I was asking in
Yes.
terms of the cost of operations
Yes.
from single units to fleets,
Yes.
management, the tricks and trades, tricks and rules of the business. This is great work. I have to give it to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Asante sana pia for making time for us.
Oh, thank you.
Asante sana.
Asante.
Karibu.
Thank you very much.